Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sully Squad. We got a special edition tonight. We got special guest, Union striker Chris Donovan's going to hop on with us in a minute or so here. So we got a lot to get into. We're going to get some Union talk. I know, Diego, that's near and dear to your heart.
Yes, it is. I'm actually super excited about that. Finally get a little bit of Union talk on my Sully Squad podcast. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so I got, and then we'll get into some Flyers, possible process 2.0, and we got a Red Hot Phillies team. So, all right, I got my usual cast here. I got Mr. 6 for 6, Diego Bianchi. What's that? Is that the Uruguay? Is that Uruguay jersey I got you?
It is Uruguay. Let's go. Yeah, I put it on. Won the championship. Sub 20 yesterday. Let's go.
All right, it's Mr. 6 for 6, Diego Bianchi, and then I got my man Sean Killer Kilrain below him. What's up, Sean? How you doing, man?
Good, man. Hanging in there, man. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. We got to bring the energy tonight because my man Fuji had something come up last minute, so we're missing Fuji, the man who usually brings the energy. So we got to step it up for my man. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, definitely.
All right. So listen. So without further ado, we got Union striker Chris Donovan hopping on with us. Hey, Chris, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, it's our pleasure, man. No, I really appreciate you taking the time, especially after that. I'm sure it was a long flight coming from the West Coast.
Yeah, it's always tough, and we got stuck until the morning. Usually we leave after the game, but our pilot got sick, so we have to have a different crew and leave in the morning.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, you guys have been playing some great soccer. I mean, what was it? Not nine in a row going into Saturday, correct?
I think it was, yeah.
Or 9 unbeaten. I'm sorry, 9 unbeaten. Yeah. So, I'm Diego. Admittedly, Diego's our soccer expert, but I'm trying to get into it a little bit more myself, and a lot of it from my son. My little guy's 9 years old, and he's just getting into playing soccer. I just had like a kind of a question for you, like how old were you when you realized like soccer was something you were really into?
Well, it was always one of three sports that I played. I played basketball, soccer, and baseball growing up, all from a pretty young age. But it was sophomore year of high school where I decided to go soccer full time.
Okay, interesting. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, because like I said, I got my son in the baseball, and he it's too slow for him. It's not enough action. He doesn't like it. So the baseball's out. He's liking basketball, and now he wants to play some soccer. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I had to give up baseball for the same reason.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So what's up, Chris? Thanks for joining us today, man. We appreciate it. You're the first Union player I actually got to talk to. I've been covering the Union all year for Edge of Philly Sports, actually in the press box. So I just had a couple of questions for you. You had your first assist the other game against New England. How'd that feel?
It's always good to make a positive contribution, especially as my role is mostly as a sub. There's not always that opportunity. It's usually just the last 5-10 minutes trying to close out a game, not necessarily having to add on a goal or an assist. But it's always good to get one as a forward.
Definitely. That was a tough loss. That was a tough loss the other night. I know you didn't get in till later on, the last 5 or 6 minutes, but did anything go wrong for your team that you've seen from the bench? Do you see other things that players on the field don't see, and maybe you tell them during the game or something like that?
You always see a lot from the bench that it's hard to see from the field. Everyone on the bench is constantly talking about what we could be doing differently. It was an unlucky game, really, where we had the chances to score, didn't, and then their left back hit a fantastic strike from 25 yards. So you can't do anything about that. And then, a little bit of an injury to Damien too. So that made us change formation early in the game.
Yeah, both goals really were really good goals by them. Pretty much, Andre Blake couldn't do anything about them. So you guys are coming off what? It was a 9-game unbeaten streak. And before that, it was like I could have some tough games. Guys really couldn't get anything going offensively or anything. How big was that 9-game unbeaten streak, you think, going forward for the last 16 games or so for the rest of the season?
It was really big. One of the main goals is we talk about games in 5-game blocks, and it's important to take 10 plus points from each 5-game block. And from we started doing that when Toronto came. So from those 5 games in that stretch, we actually took 13 points, and then we're about to play the 5th game of our next stretch, and so far I think we've taken 9 points. So we could still take 12 if we win our next game. And yeah, the main goal was just to close the gap at the top. Cincinnati finally dropped points the other day too. So yeah, we want to win the Eastern Conference again. And that stretch definitely did a lot in helping. Would have been nice if Cincinnati dropped a couple more points along the way too, though.
Yeah, just this week dropping points would have been nice to get some more. How confident is this team that they can get to the top of the Eastern Conference?
We feel as if that's where we should be. We definitely had a little bit of a slow start, a lot of injuries picking up in the early part of the season where we were playing in multiple competitions. So it's always something that is likely to happen with just all the extra added minutes. And then yeah, if we do what we're capable of doing, we should have no problems being at the top of the conference by the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree. I think all them games at the beginning of the year, you guys had a lot of games at the beginning of the year. Did that play into the slow start you guys had?
Definitely, and we have a very strong and set first 11 that we like to go with, and it's a formula that works really well for us. And when you're doing that every 3 days for 2 or 3 months, there's going to be fatigue, there's going to be injuries, stuff like that. So it was just a little bit. It's going to happen, you know.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, maybe you guys can have that 2017 Eagles next man up mentality, right?
Yeah, there is always that type of mentality, and everyone who's come into the team has done their job, and that's always how you feel as a bench player, someone who's usually on the bench. That whenever you get that opportunity, you need to step in, show what you can do, and that you're capable of doing that role full time if needed. And it's just our first 11 usually is pretty not injury prone. They're able to stay really fit.
Right.
So it's usually something like all last year that we didn't have to deal with pretty much at all. We had very few injuries. So you know, it's just something that happens.
Yeah, well, even a few weeks
What's
back.
it like being a kid from Paoli, playing for Drexel in your team, the Union, man? Did you ever envision playing for the Union?
It's not necessarily that I envisioned it, but it was, you know, when it actually happened, it couldn't have worked out any better. And I would go to Union games and think, oh, I think I could play at this level. I think I could be out there, and just so happened to work out and actually happen one day.
When did you realize that you're like, all right, I got a chance to actually be a professional soccer player?
You know, it was going to Drexel is not, you know, a glamorous college soccer team, so I knew it was going to be an uphill battle. But when after my senior year concluded and I was getting awards from the conference, from, you know, college soccer, it was it starts to be something that you think about. It's not necessarily that you care about winning these, you know, superficial awards, but the awards are necessary in order to get the looks at the next level. And that thankfully that's what happened. I was drafted by Columbus, and then they let me go after a little bit of time, but they knew that I knew that I had an option to play with Union 2 afterwards. if that didn't work out. So that worked out fine for me. Got to continue living in Philly, and then halfway through last year, got a surprise call up to the first team.
So now you made it here. What's the hardest thing about being here?
I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. So I wouldn't necessarily call it hard, but it's, it is hard. It's being a professional athlete. There are no days off. The days off that do come are you're still having to do work to recover and make sure that you're ready to go when it's time to go again.
Yeah, I got a kind of a question, like just for the whole league, like the MLS, like we were touching on awards and stuff. Well, I mean, I mean, how big is it going to have with Messi coming into the league? I mean, how much do you think that's going to change just the whole entire league?
It's going to change a lot because nothing's ever happened like this before. Like when Zlatan came over, it was more of a traditional. It was supposed to be the end of his career, but then he ended up going back to Europe anyway. But Zlatan wasn't still the best player in the world at the time when he came over. Messi is still the best player in the world. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Every team is paying a bit of his salary, so we're actually paying for him to do his best against us, which is unfortunate a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what happened. You're the greatest soccer player of all time.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. That almost reminds me of Moneyball. There's a scene in Moneyball where like Billy Bean's in there. He's talking to Dave Justice, and he's like, oh, you pay me $6 million to hit this ball, and he's like, no, Dave. He's like, I pay you. He's like, the Yankees pay you $5 million. I pay to. He's basically like, the Yankees pay you $5 million to play against them. Yeah. We pay you $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. It just was kind of funny, how you put it and everything.
Now, how do the players in the league feel about Messi coming over? Are they happy about it, or do they feel some kind of way that money is being paid to him from your team when he doesn't even play for your team? How do you feel about that and the other players?
For the guys that we've talked about it for ever since it was really rumored, a month or two ago to be really heating up. And then even last year, it was a rumor, but we were always thinking that it's definitely a good thing for the league. A lot of people are going to tune in to watch Inter Miami games. A lot of people are going to subscribe to MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. And it's going to be an overall good thing for the league. But obviously it's going to be tough when we play Miami.
Definitely, and there's rumor they're trying to get Luis Suarez over here and Busquets, and everybody wants to come play for Inter Miami now.
Yeah, man. Doesn't surprise me if it wouldn't surprise me if Suarez and Busquets followed Messi and also joined Inter Miami.
So now, competition-wise, do you think that's good for the league, or you think that's a downfall for the league? You know what I mean?
I think it's good just to have a player of his caliber in the MLS. It's always going to be good in that sense, and it remains to be seen how it'll affect the league competitively. Obviously, if it's just adding, I say just, but it is Lionel Messi. If it's just adding Messi to Inter Miami, they're in last place. Maybe it's a necessary thing just to even their playing field a little bit. Maybe it's if Suarez, Busquets come as well, then they start to dominate and it becomes a little bit of a bad thing. But I don't know. We'll see is all.
Now, how do coaches go about? Now, there's no player in this league like Messi. Everybody knows that. How does a coach go about game planning for him when like the talent level is a little bit separated? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So obviously we've never faced anyone like him before. So there's nothing that I can say will definitely be the game plan, but I can say that when we face a really good technical player that is, like Acosta from Cincinnati, Heel from New England. The idea is to just keep them out of the game any way you possibly can. Whenever he enters the space of the right center mid, then now it's your responsibility. You don't allow him to have the ball. If he's able to get on the ball, you keep him on his right foot the best you can. And if he beats us with his right foot, then so be it. What else can we do?
Right. Exactly. You're right. That's all you can do, right?
I
Now, Alex Martinez ready to just tackle him.
Yeah, Jose's played against him a couple times for Venezuela, so he'll know what's necessary, and I'm sure he'll take his usual measures in stopping a skillful player.
That's now, when you have players that have faced other players that you guys haven't played, they always got giving you guys little tips on how to guard this player, go after this player.
Yeah, everyone always shares the information that they have. It doesn't necessarily apply to me as a forward. Right. It's a little bit less of, hey, that maybe it is though, because sometimes a guy will say, hey, this guy really lacks pace. So when you get the ball, just go at him, push it past him, and see if you can beat him. So everyone's always helpful with any information that they have, and the coaches do all the scouting in the world too.
Nice. Now, to change the subject a little bit, I want to move on to Jim Curtin. How big has he been for your development since you've gotten to the Philadelphia Union?
Jim's great. He always he's not afraid to tell you when he thinks that you have made a mistake, but he tells you what you should have done, and he's always really helpful to everyone in the team when you need to be told, that something you did was really good or something was not so good. It's just, he's a great coach.
Yeah, all the time. 2 or 3 time MLS Coach of the Year. That says enough about him. He's a great coach.
Yeah.
So looking forward for the rest of the season, what's the most important thing you have to do to continue to strive in your role?
The thing that I would most like to do is get my first goal this year. It's just something that I'd like to tick off my personal checklist and allow me to continue growing my role in the team. But on a less personal and selfish angle, I just want to keep being able to do the best I can with the minutes that I'm afforded. And if that's just being asked to come in, close out a game, do all the back pressure and pressing that's necessary, win headers, go chase down defenders, like that's what I'll do. And I'm glad to do whatever's needed to make sure that the team gets the wins that we need.
Right. Now it's I'm hearing rumors that Julian Carranza could be on the move to Europe. If he goes, what kind of opportunity could that bring for you coming after?
It's just something that I haven't heard anything, and if there's a spot that opens up, I'm ready to fill it. If not, then I'm gonna try to keep earning it, the old-fashioned way, and just keep putting in good performances. And if I can earn a starting spot, that's fantastic.
Right.
Hey, I got one of our that's Dave Yarnell has a question here. He says he just wants to know, what are the toughest teams you faced so far?
It's an interesting question because me personally, I've only played in maybe 15 or so games. So if we're talking about games that I myself have played in, the LAFC, fantastic. Obviously, we all know that. Cincinnati was great. And then if we're talking about games that I'm not involved in, there's also we've played Atlas from Mexico. They were very good. We had to work hard to advance against them. And who else? I can't remember. I'm about to say one more.
Yeah. Hey, was there a particular guy in the league that you like, that maybe you really watched, or a guy you were really excited about playing against? Like you were like, wow, like I've watched this guy for years, and like, I'm not going to say, obviously not in like an intimidating type way, but a guy that you were like, wow, I can't believe I'm on the field with this guy I was just watching, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. I've always been a Liverpool supporter. So last year, coming in and pretty much right away facing Shaqiri was very, very cool. Getting to shake hands with him after the game is a very cool thing. And then on the other side, Gareth Bale has ruined my day several times as both a Liverpool fan and Union player. So obviously he's fantastic. He's unbelievable, but always seems to be on the wrong end of what I'm trying to accomplish.
Oh, that's funny.
You get a chance to check out the World Cup game yesterday, the sub-20 game?
I did not know.
Oh, I was going to say Uruguay.
I watched when Uruguay beat the U20 Americans, though.
Well, that hurt me because I was born in America. My dad was born in Uruguay, so I always have a pride for Uruguay. But that game hurt me because I'm American till the day I die. So I was rooting for us. That hurt. Well, I was rooting. 2 Union guys on the team make it hurt. 3 Union guys on the team made it hurt even more with Sullivan, Craig, and McGlynn. So that made it hurt even more.
Yeah, exactly. We were all rooting for those guys to, bring home a trophy. That would have been really cool.
Yeah. Well, listen, Chris. I really appreciate you taking the time, man. Thanks for hopping on with us, and best of luck with the rest of your season.
Absolutely, best of luck.
Maybe I'll catch it the next game I'm at. I think it's July 15th or July 20th. I'll be back at the press box, so maybe I'll catch you in the locker room after or something.
All right, awesome.
All right, man. Have a great night.
Take care, man. Best of luck.
All right. Thanks, dude. Thanks a lot. See ya. Hey, that was pretty cool, man.
That was awesome,
man.
First professional player.
I wish him the best, man. Young kid trying to make it in the soccer. He seems like he has that determination.
Yeah, well, he's out there.
Take ass and take names.
He's long. So. He's long. He makes good runs. So hopefully he gets an opportunity to really show what kind of player he is.
Well, just like you said, you got to work hard, and it sounds like he does have a good work ethic. So sky's the limit for him. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So wish him the best.
Yeah, and that's the first time that I've ever talked Union. So I learned more about the Union in the last 10 minutes than I knew. So that was actually really interesting.
Yeah, how about it?
The show, that's the most they heard about the Union for the last forever.
Well, hey, it's all good. It's all good. So, but all right. Well, that was really cool. And you know what? I want to get into some. What do we do next? Should we do the Red Hot Phillies, or we should do the Process 2.0 Flyers? But before we do, I want to get a couple sponsors here real quick. So let me just get onto this here. All right. So anybody out there, you're a coffee drinker, make sure you check out Monkey's Cold Coffee. You could use the promo code OOTBS Sports at monkeycoldcoffee.com at the checkout. The owner, Matt, donates 10% of each sales to the National Pediatric Foundation at nationalpcf.org. So not only do they have great coffee, but, like I said, 10% goes to a great cause. Anybody out there with any legal problems, make sure you call attorney Big Al or Jason Fine. Slip and fall, workers' compensation, personal injury claims. Looks like Denver Nuggets are looking to win the NBA Finals. So Miami Heat fans that joined, back in 2010 when they signed LeBron and Chris Bosh, and they were, they've been on the bandwagon ever since. You might have some splinters hopping off that wagon. So make sure you call my man Jason Fine. He's got 3 offices in Philadelphia, one in Philadelphia, PA, Cherry Hill, and Pittsburgh, PA. Here's one more here. We got one of our hosts, Ken Fry. Here's a Not Your Average Janes. It's for a good cause. As you can see here, they're looking for donations and sponsors to help cover travel and equipment for the upcoming year. And oops, here we go. My bad. And here's all the shows on the Out of Box Network. So make sure you check that out. So, all right, you know what? Let's
one more thing. Let's Philly Sports Trips got a couple trips coming up. They got what? They got one going to Washington October 29th.
Yep.
Another one going to New York October 15th. Another one going to Tampa September 22nd to 26th. So if you guys are looking for the best trip around, check out Philly Sports Trips, phillysportstrips.com, Facebook, all that good stuff. Check them out.
Yeah, and I know I'm definitely going to the one in Washington. Me and Fuji are definitely going October 29th. So anybody out there, we're gonna be getting nice and banged up and having a good time. So I know Philly Sports Trips does it right. That's for sure. So but they actually have trips for every away game, Diego.
Yeah, they got the Rams, all the games. I was just
Seattle.
All those Johns. Yep. Every one of them Johns. So
how many you got? 8 or 9 this year?
We got 9 road games.
9 road games. You got 9 possible great trips to make. Check it out.
Yeah, fly with the Eagles. Hopefully the Super Bowl champion Eagles this year.
Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. So all right, want to do Red Hot Phillies? Let's
Phillies. We'll touch the Flyers later. No one cares about the Flyers.
I'm starting to kind of care about the Flyers a little bit. I got to admit,
but not care.
Nothing excites. You know what's funny? So nothing excites me more than having a direction, and the fact that they finally have a direction. I feel like the last since 2010, I feel like I've been watching like the Andre Iguodala Sixers, except with the Flyers. You know what I mean? Like now they're gonna have. Hey, you know what? Hey, tear that John down, trade everybody. But
what do you think about the trade?
I love the trade.
All right. So what was the trade? It was a first rounder, 2 second rounders, a prospect, and then what? 2 throwaway contracts.
Scott Walker, a goaltender,
and a goaltender,
and a defenseman. 3 players. So,
I mean, the players. I feel like the players just throw in players. They're not much potential. Them 3 picks. I want a first and 2 seconds for Ivan Provorov in a rebuild. That's a great move right there.
Yeah. Tear it down. Tear that John down, dude. They
should answer the phone call, make phone calls on every single player on the roster besides, I'm going to say, Carter Hart.
Well, they're taking phone calls for Carter Hart, as we were talking. So Carter Hart.
Wants to be off from Carter Hart. I feel like that's a move that could set us back.
What do you think?
But you got teams like Edmonton, Dallas, Arizona.
He's facing 50 shots a game. We put no defense in front of him. How do you know if a goalie's he was amazing until he got to the Flyers. Every stage of his career, amazing. Then he gets a Philly, he can't play.
I don't think anybody's saying he can't play.
Swedish. Yeah, it's not.
Well, wouldn't he be a piece you rebuild around, Joe? It's not like he's an old guy you move on from.
Wait, what did you say? I couldn't hear you.
You can get picks for him, right? But to build a young team, don't you need a cornerstone player to build around? This kid has been a cornerstone player his whole entire carear.
Hey, listen,
I'm giving him away to try to find another cornerstone player to build around. Listen,
I'm not advocating to trade Carter Hart. I'm saying they're going to listen on everybody. Like, my point is, when it comes to Hart, I kind of agree with you. Like, unless I'm getting blown away with an offer, but for I'm probably going to hold on to him because he is only 24 years old. But by the flip side, though, if somebody did offer me, say, 2 or 3 first-round picks, maybe a really good young defensive prospect, maybe an offensive, like if I'm getting a really good offer, I may consider it only because the Flyers feel like they have good depth in that position in the minors. I mean, they got Erison, they got that Russian kid. I know it might be a year or two before he comes over, but they, the Russian kid they like. And if they're not going to be ready for 2-3 years anyway, and they like some of these other guys, it might make sense to get some assets. That's all I'm saying. I wouldn't be in a rush to trade him either, because you could be making another Sergei Bobrovsky trade.
Right. Look at in the Stanley Cup Finals right now. That's what I don't want to do. That's really what I'm looking at. You go move on. Same thing we did with Bob. We're like, he's done, right? And then look at him now. He had a great run. I mean, they're probably going to lose to Vegas now, but they were an 8 seed. He was on fire the whole entire playoffs, and is a stud. If let's go, Bobrovsky. Maybe you're not in a rebuild.
Yeah, you know who I would trade though, even though he's a really good player. Konechty's the guy I would sell high on. 100%. I would sell high on TK. Now TK's young. He's on a good contract. He scored you 30 goals last year, but TK's not a big guy. He gets hurt a lot, and if somebody gave me, I was reading that Edmonton might have interest in TK. Edmonton has a couple. They have a young defenseman. I think his name's like Brogner or something that begins with a B. I don't have my phone in front of me, but it's like Broggen or something. He's a Swedish defenseman, and the bottom line is, if I could get, he was first round pick in 2019, either 2019 or 2021, I forget, but either way, if I could get myself a young defenseman and maybe another pick or another prospect, that's the kind of move I'd make as a rebuilding team, because, if you look at the Flyers do have some young forwards that you could build around. I mean, you got that kid Gauthier down at I think he's staying at Boston College, I think it is.
Yes.
So you got Gauthier, and then you got Forrester. Forrester's one of the top prospects they got. He's another winger. You got Owen Tippett. What's that?
Is it Philip Broberg or
that's who? Yeah, Broberg. Yes, I believe he was a first round pick for Edmonton in 2021.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
2019.
All right, it was 20. All right, bottom line.
6'3", 189.
Okay, but bottom line is that he's a young defenseman with some. Keith Jones stated on 97.5 he wants to build from the back end out. So what kind of moves you make? Okay, you have young forwards. You got a Tippett. You got a Forrester. Maybe a Bobby Brink possibly develops. You have this the 7th pick. Maybe they go defenseman, but it looks like they may go another forward. So maybe you go a young forward at number 7, and then the Provorov trade getting the 22nd pick. Supposedly that's a prime spot for defensive prospects. So maybe they grab a young defense.
One guy.
All right. So as long as you draft well, I mean, if you could draft a good young defenseman at number 22, and maybe you trade a TK for some assets and another young defenseman, then all of a sudden you're starting to build to something. You got a Cam York. You play that guy. The kid they got from the Kings. They got what was his name? Hans something. I think his name was Hans.
Yes.
I wanted to say Hans Gruber, but then I'm like, well, shit, this ain't Die Hard, right?
I was going to say Han Solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Han Solo. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why, but when I say Hans, now I know Hans Gruber was from Die Hard, but I was thinking Hans Gruber. But what's funny though? I don't know if you guys have seen it out there. There's a great documentary on Netflix about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Do you guys see that at all?
Yeah,
I didn't see it yet, but I did see it that it was out.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man, it's phenomenal. It's really good. I got 10 minutes left on the third episode, but basically anybody out there, if you want to watch something good, that documentary on Arnold Schwarzenegger is really interesting. Like the first John's all about the weightlifting and bodybuilding, all that stuff. Second one is like the acting, and then the third one's like the governor where he was like the governor and like to nowadays. But tell you what, you really learn a lot about the dude because I didn't know all this stuff about him. But you want to talk about a guy that was driven. I mean, this dude was really driven, man.
Absolutely.
Like hopefully the Flyers draft some guys that are driven like he is to be successful because this franchise has really sucked for a while. You know what I mean?
Well, definitely. They're really behind.
Yeah, I mean, what were you saying, Sean?
They were high on this defensive man, Danny Briere, David Reinbacher, 6'2", 185. Shoots right.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that. I saw that. The only thing that makes me nervous about a guy like him, if you pick a guy like him at 7, he's supposedly like the classic, like good defenseman, like stay at home type dude, like solid player. Like, dude, I don't want a solid player at number 7. I want a difference maker. You know what I'm saying? Get the solid player at 22 if you can.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
A playmaker, absolutely.
Someone who has the potential to be a star. Where you see something in mind, you're like, all right, he could be a star. That's what the Flyers are missing. They have no one where like really puts any pressure on the other defense in a scary way. You know what I mean? With his skating and his amazing shot. Like, they don't have a player like that right now. I feel like they're missing someone like that.
It amazes me that the Blackhawks got the number 1 pick, and we could, like Joey's always been saying, Connor Bedard, but that ain't it.
No, whose fault is that?
It's the Flyers' fault.
It's the Flyers' own fault. You want to go win games at the end of the season. You wanted to hire John Tortorella, who
it's true.
You knew at the beginning of the year that hire, he has his guys playing tough all the time. So he's going to win games that he shouldn't win. And that's exactly what John Tortorella did.
Yeah,
well
I remember like January, and maybe it was like December, late December, January, February, I forget, but sometime around then, the Flyers were playing halfway decent, and I remember I was saying, "Damn, they're winning too many freaking games." And I know Pat Bernard, he was sitting there saying, "Oh, the Flyers are playing good, blah blah blah." And I was like, Pat, this isn't a good thing, bro. I was like, these wins mean absolutely nothing. And now, fast forward, 6 months later, the Flyers are picking 7 in a 5-player draft. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they're going to get a really good player at number 7, but the guy you get at 7 could be equivalent to the guy that's picked at like 12 or 13. The top 5 picks are pretty much consensus. Right. So they already, I applaud them for what they're doing going forward. Like, I really like the Keith Jones hire. I really like the Briere hire. I love Briere's first trade. He thought outside the box. I think he did a great job on this trade, making a 3-way trade. But the bottom line is they should have done this shit last year.
True.
Right.
But I mean,
this decision to fully rebuild should have been made last year. And then they should have brought in a coach that's a rebuilt coach. You know what I mean? They shouldn't have brought in a coach that wins games that he has no business winning. He's not a first-round pick. He's not that kind of coach.
Yeah. So, but hey, I mean, as we can't cry over spilled milk. So the only thing you could do, make these moves, try to get what you can for Kevin Hayes, even if you gotta, if you gotta eat like $3 million, $4 million of his salary to get a better pick, do it. Couturier. Now you're not going to get anything for Couturier yet because he's coming off a major injury, but if I'm a Flyers fan, if I'm Flyers management, I'm praying to God that Couturier comes back, shows he's healthy, plays extremely well for the first half of this year, and maybe you get a contending team around the trade deadline wanting a forward like him that plays 2 ways. Because if you get a healthy Couturier right around the trade deadline, he would be the kind of guy that a cup contending team would love to add because he can. He could score goals. He could kill penalties. I mean, Couturier could be a hell of a player on a good team. We're just not here.
He's a hell of a player. He just can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. we just got to hope he can. You got to hope a Cam Atkinson can come back. Maybe he shows something. I mean, you're not now. Granted, you're not going to get a ton, I don't think, for a Cam Atkinson. But maybe around the trade deadline, maybe a team needs a guy that could score some goals. Okay, yeah, maybe you get a second or third round pick, whatever. Keep stockpiling those assets like a a la, in the NBA, a la Oklahoma City or Sam Hinkie. Sam Hinkie fucked it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stockpile those assets, and in a couple years' time, a couple good drafts, clear up that cap space, and maybe in a year and a half, 2 years' time, maybe you're signed a free agent. You know what I'm saying?
True.
How long do you guys think till this Flyers team's back to prominence?
Wait, what'd you say?
How long before this Flyers team is back to playing real competitive hockey?
I say you can, if you have like two really excellent drafts and make some really good trades, 2 to 3 years. If you have any missteps, it could be 4 or 5.
I was going to say 3 to 4.
Well, what were you saying earlier, Joe? Sixers will be they'll be going into rebuild mode, and the fans will be out on the Sixers, and then by the time the Flyers are ready to win, Philadelphia's locked in.
Yeah,
on the Flyers.
That's true. I got a comment here. Miko Spencer, what's up, fam? Watching the squad and eating dinner at Applebee's. Cool. Thanks for checking us out.
Thanks, dude.
Every time I think of Applebee's, I think of couples retreat. You ever see couples retreat?
Yes.
All right. Remember, he's like, nobody wants to go to Applebee's alone, right? You're a real fuck up if you got to go to Applebee's by yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like life goal. If you have to go to Applebee's by yourself, you got zero game at all. Just hang them up.
Just get right to the bar.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, really. But
just every back turned.
Yeah, but so what's funny though? Speaking of the Sixers, you know what? I wasn't even going to really talk Sixers, but there's some interesting rumors coming up. Interesting rumors today.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Any Bill Simmons was on his podcast talking about possibly Bradley Beal.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, well, you know what I liked? I liked the fact that he was talking about getting Beal for Tobias Harris's contract and a couple pick swaps or something. Now I do like that.
Do you think that's even possible?
Diego, I didn't think so, but now I you know what? I do now, and I'll tell you why. It kind of reminds me, remember when the Sixers started the process and they traded Drew Holiday for basically nothing?
Yeah.
Yes.
And part of the reason was because they wanted to intentionally lose games.
Yes.
Okay, well, Bradley Beal has a no trade clause. And in 2 to 3 years' time, Bradley Beal's going to be making over $50 million, okay? Washington Wizards can't even make the playoffs. They got new ownership, new general manager.
Yep.
So if you think about it, from a Wizards perspective, they're not going anywhere with Bradley Beal. So if you trade Bradley Beal, you get Tobias Harris's expiring contract. You're out of that contract, plus you pick up another asset or two, and you literally just start a rebuild, and you free up all that cap space.
Okay.
I
would do it 100%.
Absolutely.
If you think it's a real possibility.
I think it might be. And the other thing is too, here's the thing too, Bradley Beal holds all the cards because of that no trade clause. And you know what's weird? You know how we always say Embiid never recruits anybody? Well, yeah. Bradley Beal's like one of the few guys he's good friends with in the NBA.
Right.
In fact, Embiid was trying to recruit him a couple years ago before they got hard.
We wanted to get him, yeah.
Now, what do you guys think about Fred VanVleet opting out of his contract?
It says something. He wants to play with Nurse, I think. What do you think, Joe?
I do too. I just don't know how we get him. I mean, the only way we could get him is if I sold a few Tobias Harris possible trades where like you could possibly peddle Tobias Harris to a team like Detroit and pick up the kid from Bagley from Sacramento. I mean, not Sacramento. You know what I mean? Sacramento drafted him a couple years ago.
Marvin Bagley.
Yeah, so Marvin Bagley has, I believe, 2 years left on his contract at $12 million a year each. Detroit may want to get out of that, so maybe they take on Tobias for 1 year because no free agent's going to go to Detroit. So Detroit has tons of cap space. Maybe you give them a future pick way down the line, take on that cap space, and then you could use that money to get Fred Van Vliet. That's the only way. That's the only way I could see that happening. But if that happens, then the only thing is I don't know how much that makes you better, though, because if you're only adding Van Vliet and then you let Harden go for nothing, and you have to trade Tobias, then what do you really got? I mean, you're going forward with what? Van Vliet, Maxey, and Bede? That team's not going to win shit.
Now, could you do something like sign and trade, or like could he sign and be traded by the Raptors to here, or like Tobias Harris and Maxey, clear up enough space, let Harden walk, clear up enough space to add another player? Maybe just change this all up?
Maybe I did read something where if all right, so see the thing is I like we've been saying, Diego, I really don't think that Harden's going to leave. I think Harden's going to stay. So I think a lot of this is moot. I think the Houston thing's bullshit.
Right, but it's going on for too long. Like, it would have been bullshit, Joe, right, if he was using it for leverage. But it obviously seems like the Sixers caught his bluff. So, and everyone knows that. So why is that rumor still out there? That Harden's picking between Houston and Sixers? Because it doesn't give him any more leverage anymore.
Well, check this. God.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Sean.
There's a trade for the Sixers Bulls. Lonzo Ball, Caruso, Derek Jones, Tobias Harrison, Springer, 2024 second-round pick, and a 2029, both second-round picks go to the Bulls.
Well, you're asking Lonzo Ball because he might not never play again.
Yeah, Lonzo Ball might be.
People in the Chicago organization, nothing is set in stone, but some people have been saying he's never going to play basketball again.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what's ironic? And it's a damn shame because by most accounts, Lonzo Ball is actually a really good kid.
Really good player, too.
Yeah, he is. He is a really good player. And it is a shame because when he came into the league, he had that weird looking shot. He made himself a really good shooter. But a lot of people are saying that his injury is from those trash ass shoes, the Big Baller brand. That's what I was reading.
Yeah.
Huh?
You believe that?
Well, it could have been somebody that's just hating on his dad.
No. I'm not saying it's. I heard the same exact thing.
I wouldn't put it past them.
Like, really. I don't know if I do, but I kind of do because these athletes all wear great Nike shoes and stuff. And then
Adidas, Nike, yeah, New Balance,
shortcut and everything, making a trash ass shoe and all them jumping on your knees and shit. That can't be good for you.
Hey.
His brother doesn't even wear his own shoes. He wears Puma. So that says something, like you're saying, Joey.
Yeah, well, he's probably like, Dad, I love you, but these shoes are trash.
I'm not wearing the big bars. It's like wearing Bobos.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
You know?
Yeah, I mean,
imagine your own shoe ruins your career.
I know. Well, hopefully his pops hopefully his pops invested some money and stuff for him because it is a damn shame. He should have made the Jordan Nike deal. He really fucked that up.
Yeah.
You know?
Would you do this trade? Sixers and Pacers, Buddy Hield and a 2023 first round pick for Tobias and Jaden Springer.
Would I do it? I drive him to friggin' Indiana.
There you go.
But I don't see that. That doesn't make any. Wait a minute. But we don't have a first round pick to trade. So who's making up these trades? Like, you mean Indiana's giving us a first round pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say we
yeah,
can't.
They're giving us Buddy Hield in the first round pick.
Indiana's not going to do that. That sounds like a little kid making up trades. Why would Indiana do that shit? I mean, well, they're going to trade Indiana's like late lottery. They're not going to give up their first round, and they're not that good, so they're not going to give up their. I mean, think about it. They're not going to trade like what the 10th or I don't even know where they're picking, like 12th or 13th. They're not going to do that and Buddy Hield for Tobias, who they're going to have for 1 year. That doesn't make no sense. Unless they really like Jaden Springer, but I mean, that kid showed some potential. But I mean, there's I could run down the street and see 5 Jaden Springers. You know what I mean? Like he don't show anything special yet.
Absolutely.
Although round this team out.
What's that?
How do the Sixers round this team out and get to the championship this year coming up? I don't know. In my opinion, I think we need a 3. Because we keep talking about Van Vliet and getting a guard, but in reality, you look at this team. What they need is a real 3.
There's no 3. I know the problem is though. There's no. I don't know where you get a 3. I mean, all right. Here's one for you. As much as we love Maxey, what if there was a way you could get a Zach LaVine somehow?
What if there's a way you can?
That's what I read an article about that. Would you do that?
Yes, he's exactly the kind of guy they need. The Sixers. You look at the Sixers. The reason the Sixers can't beat these teams, we have like with Boston, we have nobody to guard Jaylen Brown. We have nobody to guard Tatum. Defense. What's that?
We have no perimeter defense. Every time a switch comes, there's a player on the court that can be mismatched. Maxey, going back years ago, a lot of years ago, JJ Redick. Like there's always a player on the court. Do you notice when the Heat are on the court, you can't really gain a huge mismatch? Even Duncan Robinson, who's not a great defender, is still a tougher matchup than going up against Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
Switching on to James Harden. We needed someone like a real 3 where up at the top, you go up with that real perimeter defender, Embiid, and whenever you're trying to switch on one of them, you got a good athlete to pick up Tatum, to pick up Jaylen Brown, so on and so forth.
Yo, it's like remember the water boy where the kicker was going to kick the ball and he's like, "Who's going to be my bitch?"
Yeah,
right. That's like the other coach when he looks like the Sixers. He's basically like, "All right, who's going to be my bitch?" All right, it's Maxey. And then before it was JJ Redick or Marco Bellinelli.
Exactly.
He's like, "All right, who's going to be my bitch?"
But when are we going to have a starting 5 where you can't get a mismatch? When you're playing Denver, you can't get a mismatch. When you're playing the Heat, you can't get a mismatch. Same with Boston. Like it's always a tough defender. Even if Boston has to switch on Brogdon on you, Brogdon can D up.
I know.
So,
Brogdon's a tough ass scorer. I mean, he reminds me of kind of like an Andre Miller type dude.
Yeah.
Mako Spencer, big baller brand costs more than Jordan's. It's insane. LaMelo balls, Pumas cost $80. I have a pair. And then I got one more.
Cost like $300 a pair or something like that.
Yeah. Miko Spencer here. He says, I think you need a forward shooter and to complete the court that plays D as well. Yeah, that's the problem is though, that's like the hardest thing to find. Like where do you find, where the hell do we find an athletic 3 that can shoot, play defense? Oh, you know what? Teams like Miami Heat find them in like a Cody and a Cody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
undrafted guys. Yeah.
A guy was out the league. J. Cole, the rapper, called Caron Butler, an assistant coach on the Miami Heat. Said, "Yo, I got this kid down here. He's balling. He's putting in man work. You should give him a shot." Miami called him up, gave him a shot, and that was history. He was on his way out the league.
You know who I'd like to take a chance on, but he's only a restricted free agent. I've been saying this for the last couple years, and it could be a waste of time because he's already been with he'll be on his 4th different team. I still would take a chance on a guy like Cam Reddish. I know, just on a change of scenery type, John, just because, desperate times call for desperate measures sometimes. And Cam Reddish, maybe he's got an attitude problem, whatever, but the dude was like the 5th or 6th pick in the draft. I mean,
yes.
I'm not saying that would work out. And believe me, I'm not sitting here advocating that Cam Reddish is going to be the move to get us over the top. I'm not going there. But I'm saying though, the Sixers are in a position where they got to take a chance on somebody like that, because we need more athletes on this team.
Definitely.
There's got to be my man Daniel House, he just wasn't it, man. I'm sorry. We got to.
He'll be back for you.
Yes, he will be back, but we need better than that. You know what I mean?
Dunk or two out on this year again.
So, I don't know, dude. Sixers are just man. We tanked all these years, and I feel like we're like in purgatory.
It was a waste.
Bro.
I don't know if it was a waste, because you got one of the best centers.
We did get Embiid.
You got one of the best centers. You got one of the best players I've ever seen play basketball ever.
Right.
So, was it a total loss? No, we could have not drafted Embiid. You know what I'm saying? It still sucked. There was no guarantee that we were going to get better just because we didn't process.
Yeah, and look at it like this. And it's not only Embiid either, by the way. Like
you know
yes,
how many teams in the NBA wish they were the Sixers?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like this, like we only look at all the picks we screwed up, like the Markelle Fultz and the Okafor and all that stuff. But a lot of these teams miss picks. But even Ben Simmons, Ben Simmons looks like a chump now, but he did get us James Harden. And you could say what you want about James Harden. James Harden had a hell of a year last year. The dude averaged 21. He led the league in assists. The two-man game between him and Embiid was almost unstoppable. It's just unfortunate that we lost in the second round again. But the bottom line is, though, James Harden did have a hell of a year. It's not like
he always does.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like he's a scrub. It just didn't work out at the end.
No, but he always has a really good year.
Say about Ben Simmons, he's getting jacked.
Oh yeah, well it's the typical. It's the typical Ben Simmons summer videos.
Yeah.
Miko Spencer, I'm hearing Dinwiddie and Finney Smith ones out of the Nets. Thoughts? Yeah, they're nice players, but they're not really fits on the Sixers, really. They're not. I wouldn't mind having those guys in the rotation, but we have. I don't know how we would get them, and
yeah.
Like if you could give me if Dinwiddie and Finney Smith were both there for free and you're like, yo, you could add them, I'd be like, yeah, I'd love to have those dudes. But we really have no way of adding them, and I don't think they're not enough difference makers with what we'd have to give up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not doing enough for us.
No.
Doesn't solve anything.
We need I don't know. We need a bold move, like a brat, but
I like the Zach LaVine, like you said.
The problem is though, if you went out and got a Beal's only 6'3", Maxi's like 6'2", you'd be horrible defensively at the guard position. Then if you went out and got a Beal, and then you almost can't keep Harden. So basically, you're letting Harden go. So what are you doing with Harden? Are you trying to convince Houston and Harden to hook you up with a sign and trade so you could get the trade exception, so you get more players? Like Daryl Morey has been he's been a very imaginative GM. Well, he's gonna have to basically do the best amount. He's gonna have to be like a David Copperfield with this friggin' offseason. He's gonna have to be a magician, because I don't know how he's gonna do it. You know what I mean? Diego,
I couldn't agree more.
I don't really know what ideas he can do, really.
There isn't much. There isn't many ideas he can do. They got their hands tied.
Well,
you're new way. You can't. I'll take Beal. How do you have Beal and Maxey in the same backcourt? We just got done talking about mismatches. There's gonna be two mismatches out there at all times. How do you get away with that?
Well, Harden's not a great defensive player either.
But he's still 6'4", though, 6'5". You know what I'm saying? He's still a little bit like James Harden gets you 9 boards.
That's true.
How do you get all them triple doubles? James Harden, he's got like He's like one of the most triple doubles of all time. So I mean, he gets you boards. That's 7 or 8 boards a game you're losing, and you ain't making it up with Bradley Beal and Maxey.
That's true. Harden. I mean, Harden does have a little thickness. I mean, Bradley Beal's a little light in the ass. He ain't getting no boards.
Now, I'm not saying Harden jumps out of the gym, but maybe he uses his body a little better. But he definitely gets unnoticed boards. You know what I'm saying? But Beal and Maxey don't ever get them unnoticed boards, and they could be big in some points of these games.
True.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you know, you go down the stretch against a team like Boston in like a 102 game with a minute and a half, 2 minutes left. And if Boston's getting 2 or 3 offensive rebounds and extra possessions, that's the difference between a game 7 win and a game 7 loss, you know, or game 6 win, you know, whatever, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So I mean,
so, all right, well, we'll get more into the Sixers in the coming weeks. We do actually have for once a red hot baseball team.
well,
Phillies.
When I say last week, I was like, they're going to start tearing it up right now when the wet weather starts to break. Here we are in June. They're hitting that ball.
Well, how ironic was it? Last week we were talking about Trey Turner and Rob Motti hopped on right when we were talking about Trey Turner. Remember the next day he's like, "What did I tell you guys about Trey?" It just so happened that was the night that Turner broke out. What did he hit? Like 2 bombs or something that night?
Yeah, right before Rob Motti came on, I was like, "Don't worry about Trey Turner. It's not even hitting season yet." You know what I mean? And then he went off.
Yeah. So,
It's baseball, dude. 52 games into a year, and this fan base was losing their mind. Relax.
And we know the people who are panicking. You just can't hit the panic button, like the three of us said. It's a long season. June's here, and the balls are going to be popping. You know, so
now,
enjoy.
Aaron Nola worries me.
Yeah, he
you know what? Though, it's a shame. You're right. Absolutely, he worries you. It's a shame. Like I think we said it before. The supporting cast doesn't give it to him. But like you said, it's all on Nola. You know,
but if you're an ace, sometimes you win a 1-0 game. Yeah. He can't win a 1-0 game because he always has a 3 or 4 run inning coming.
Mm-hmm.
He's not an ace. Let's keep it real. I mean, so many Phillies fans have been saying this dude's an ace for so many years.
He's not an ace.
He's never been.
He's not an ace.
Not.
He's a
number 3 pitcher.
or a low end when he's on he's a 2. In reality, he's a low end 2, high 3.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, like
high 3.
If you put him on the Atlanta Braves or some of these teams that have some really good pitchers, he's like their 3rd starter, 4th. You know what I mean?
And he's great at a 3rd and 4th starter, but this team needs a number 2, a real number 2 every night.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know, props to Taijuan Walker because he started off really, really shitty. I don't have the numbers, and I sent you guys the numbers. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
1.69 ERA in his last 5 starts, something like that.
Yeah. He's whatever it is. He's pitching really well. He pitched a really good ball game yesterday. I kind of thought, you know, the team's won 7 of 8, so I don't want to sit here and criticize the manager when the team's won 7 of 8. But again, I gotta keep it real. You know, it's a moot point because they won yesterday. But Rob Thompson sometimes has way too quick of a hook for some of these guys. I mean, Taijuan Walker was at like 80 some pitches yesterday, and Rob Thompson takes him out, which didn't make any sense to me because they have a bullpen game tonight. So like, you know, you got a guy that's dealing, you know what I mean? In a getaway day, you know, like the Dodgers,
yeah,
you know, he could have, you know, to me, I'm sorry, you try to get your guy another inning at least, you know what I mean? But it's a moot point. They won. I'm not going to.
How long has Rob Thompson been in this league? 30 years.
A long time.
Yeah,
he's been an assistant pretty much his whole entire career.
Yeah,
he got the opportunity last year. He took us to the World Series. it's hard to be down on him, because everyone fell in love with him during last year's run. But in reality, he's proven that he's an assistant. To me, he's not a major league.
He's not showing you his head coach managerial skills. You're right. He's playing assistant.
There's too much. Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to kill them because they're playing good ball, but there's too much of this analytics bullshit.
Yeah,
it's too much like not gut feel. It's like, oh,
Joe Girardi. He was Joe Girardi's assistant. Joe Girardi went off analytics.
Yeah, well,
why was he his assistant?
Yeah, well, the
just
difference.
Got to get off the analytics and play ball.
Yeah.
All right, analytics goes into baseball. Everyone knows that. But there's a point in time that comes, you go, I'm going to go against the analytics. It's like gambling.
Exactly.
Sometimes you win.
Yeah, exactly.
But the one thing I'll give Rob Thompson a lot of credit, though. He's in a lot of ways, he's like a younger version of Charlie Manuel in the sense that the reason these guys, and this is a big reason why I think they won last year, he instills like a much more relaxed clubhouse, which enables these guys to chill. These guys get along. You could see the Phillies are a very close team. They probably go out. They go out, drinking together. They're playing cards, slamming beers, whatever. You know what I mean? And that plays a big role into winning. You know what I mean? It's like anything else. When you're comfortable with people, like you said, like Joe Girardi, like he not only did he have the analytics, but he had people like walking on pins and needles in there, like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like they were like grabbing the bat like it was friggin' sawdust. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all right. So before we get out of here, we suggested so the Phillies are have won 7 of 8. The next 7 days, they have 4 with Arizona, and then they got 3 with Oakland, which Oakland is absolutely terrible. They're on like it figures though, right? Oakland's terrible. They're on like an all-time shittiest team ever type pace, but they've won 5 in a row. So what are we catching them the one time later this week where they're playing decent?
I'm not taking them granted because they swept the Brewers for the first season sweep.
The Braves.
No, the Brewers. They swept the Brewers this weekend.
Okay.
But they're the teams that kick our ass. Like you said, you least expect, and they kick our ass.
Well, I know we don't play good on the West Coast in Arizona.
Yeah, so that's the telling one right there. Because if I took a poll of baseball fans and just asked them who was in first place in the NL West, every one of them would probably say the Dodgers, but in reality, the Diamondbacks are actually in first place right now.
Yeah.
So they're
playing
really
good ball,
good
man. Real good ball.
All right, so
4 against Arizona, 3 against Oakland.
4 against Arizona,
3 against
Oakland. So 7. Then all right, so we play 7 games until we do this show next week. How are we doing this week?
4 and 3.
All right, I would take
2 in Arizona, and you take 2 in Oakland.
Okay, I think I would take that. I'm hoping for 5, but yeah, I would take 4 and 3. I'll go right with you. I'll say 4 and 3 because the Phillies have really struggled on the road so far this year. So yeah, I mean, if you tell me I could go 4 and 3, I think I'll be all right with that.
Yeah, I'll take that. What do you think, Sean?
4 and 3. I'm with you guys. I agree.
And 4 and 3, I believe, puts us right at 500 a week from tonight. I think we're a game under 500. So 4 and 3 puts us exactly at 500.
Now, how many games will that be in? 60 games in? 62 games in?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, 500 through 62, that's not bad.
No, I think and you got to figure it's hitting season. Walker's pitching well. You got another hidden factor. Suarez, his last 3 outings, has pitched much better. They need Suarez,
So you win 60 to 65% of your games remaining. You're looking at 90 wins, 95 wins.
That gets. I feel pretty good at least. I mean, especially with the 3rd wild card, I feel pretty good that we're at least going to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm confident. Yeah,
I agree. I'm still confident. I've been confident on this team. I didn't lose my confidence because it's not hitting season. Now, if they have a really bad rest of June, then I'll be very worried. But it's looking like we got off to a very good start.
And by the way, if you finish with the way the playoffs are shaping up, if you finish 6, believe it or not, finishing 6 actually is probably better than finishing 4th or 5th.
Right.
Because if you finish 6th and the last wild card, you play the winner of the NL Central. Well, the NL Central is mediocre as shit. It's either going to be like right now, it would either be Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, or Cincinnati's behind, but they're a good young team. But I like our chances of going to Milwaukee or Pittsburgh and taking 2 or 3.
Okay.
So I mean, I could see it, and then if you finish 6, you play the 2 seed in the second round. You don't play the 1 seed. So the bottom line is so say the Braves finish as the number 1 seed. Well, if you are the Phillies and you finish 6, you take out the NL Central. I mean, I know I'm going way ahead of myself, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
But like we did last year, where we took out St. Louis, took out Atlanta, then you play, then somebody upset the Dodgers. Well, I could see a similar scenario. You see the Phillies. I would hope you could finish 6th, take out whoever wins the Central, and then you play either Dodgers or Arizona, which obviously would be tough. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. Or it could be Atlanta. I mean, it depends on who finished second. But
right.
But anyway, I guess the thing is just play up to hitting season, get in the playoffs, and like last year, anything can happen.
Exactly.
All right, and speaking of playoffs, we're going to get out of here real quick. NBA Finals, Game 5. Is there a Game 6, or are they getting high up in the Mile High City tonight?
They're stoned.
What's that?
They're getting stoned tonight up there.
All right, Denver wins.
Yeah, it's over tonight.
All right, Sean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was hoping Game 7, but don't look like it.
All right, and then
NHL.
Think, what's that?
What do you think?
Oh, I think Denver wins. I think the series is over.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even think it's going to be. I know Miami's got a ton of heart. Diego, I was telling you this earlier today. This series reminds me of the Sixers-Lakers in 2001. It's like the same type of series where Miami had all the heart. You know, they're the good story. They played their balls off to get there. And I'm not saying Denver's Shaq and Kobe. I mean, Denver's a nice team, but Shaq and Kobe probably would smoke them. But I get the same feeling. Like the Sixers won Game 1 and they were done. I think Miami won Game 2 in this series. They're done. You know what I'm saying? NHL Finals, is that over? Tomorrow night it's Game 5.
Vegas closes that out.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Vegas closes that out.
Vegas. Yeah, I think so too. I think that's done.
It's amazing to see them go back and win a second one, man.
Yeah, so all right, fellas. Well, look, it's been real. By the way, any baseball fans out there, make sure you check out my show with Dave Yarnell, Cowboy Dave, tomorrow night, 8:30. We do a show called Extra Innings. We don't just do Phillies; we break down the whole league. So, we do like anywhere Rookie of the Year race, top prospects, power rankings, you name it. So, any you seam heads out there, check us out tomorrow night. I know in particular, one of the prospects, Gunnar Henderson of the Orioles, I was on Twitter yesterday, and the dude hit the longest home run ever in Camden Yards yesterday. This kid, he hit one all the way to like the friggin' warehouse and shit.
Wow.
It was like, it was like a Babe Ruth shot in the city where Babe Ruth was built.
Right.
Or born. I'm sorry, not built. Whatever. Right. Although the way Babe Ruth used to hit home runs, maybe he could have been built, you know? So, all right, guys. Well, look, it's been real. I'll see you all later.
All right, guys.
Good Monday, man. Take care.